Welcome to the Yerba Power Podcast. I'm joined by a very special guest today. His name is Dan. Hanna is how I say your last name? Yeah. So he is a team member on the Brothers of the Gourd, a soccer team, football team up in Philly that has Yerba Mate as their, whole origin of their team and centered around that. So this blew my mind that this exists. Number one and well, especially because it's like non-Argentines, or at least you're not. Two, that this is in Philly, because that seems like I would expect it out of, like, I don't know, Miami or New York or something. But so that's cool. And so that's why I'm honored to have you on the show today,
Man, I'm
Dan.
doing
So
great.
how you doing?
I'm pleased to meet you. This is kind of just pure luck that we kind of ended up, meeting after I connected with Yerba Crew like last week, and I'm excited to chat with. Yeah,
Power of the internet. Yeah. The one good thing about Instagram, at least so far for me, being able to connect with people outside of my, general world, I guess you could say, my little
absolutely.
backyard. Be able to find people
Through the mate.
on the internet, and we all hang around there in kind of the same areas because you're Mate, right? You like a photo, you see a person, and they're like, "Oh, where's this?" So, with that being said, how did you get into
Uh,
Yerba Mate?
Kind of randomly, so I was, back in the day, I was just like in Whole Foods, and I saw Guayaquil, like the glass bottles, which is kind of the only brand that like they sell. You know, Actually, like, this is probably 10 plus years ago. That was definitely the only like mate we'd ever find. Uh, but I didn't know what it was.
Hmm.
I saw it was kind of like this healthy tea type thing, and maybe I'd heard of it once. So I just started drinking it, like before games, or I'd be playing pickup soccer, and I just noticed the energy was good. Um, like did a little research about it, maybe just to find out what mate was, but do the gourd thing until a little later. So I met a friend here in Philly. We were playing pickup soccer, and I kind of wanted to recruit him to our team, which wasn't Brothers of the Gourd at the time. And we just started chatting. So it turned out both of us had been in Brazil for the World Cup, I guess earlier that summer, so 2014. And his family actually lived in Brazil. So we became friends. And, later that year, like we went down there to visit his family, like have a farm, beautiful place. And his dad showed me how to make the mate like properly. They had a whole bunch of big gourds there, and I was, oh, what is that? Like I was just really curious, and I'd seen pictures of people with mate gourds. So we learned how to make it there. We just had this idea. We're like, hey, we should bring this back to the team. Like, what if we pass this around, before a match? And we would all have like really good energy. It would be like a little ritual. And, it's a little odd coming from Philadelphia. We don't know anything about this culture at that time. Uh, but we just like the idea of something that kind of like you. There we go. Yeah. So started to bring the gourd to the game, uh, and we pass it around. Most of the guys were kind of like, "What is this?" Some of them still are, but it's just been our thing, I guess, since then.
That's cool. And even cooler that you got to go see a World Cup match,
It was
especially in
awesome.
Brazil. So how was that experience?
Fantastic, man. I saw two or
Yeah.
three matches, like the group stages. We were in Rio, so went to like Maracana Stadium there, and just toured a little bit of Rio. Like beautiful people, beautiful beach. Like, and actually subsequently I've been back to Rio like a good handful of times just based on that first trip. Like I love this place. But yeah, amazing
Nice,
time.
nice. Well, that's cool. So, what part of Brazil is your friend
It's
from?
this town called Pindamonhangaba. It's not a big place, but it's
Okay.
kind of, I think it's outside of Sao Paulo.
Uh-huh. My own curiosity, because no, I was just saying my own curiosity because I obviously know Argentine, Yerba from, that's the whole thing with my wife and all that. But Brazil, unfortunately, is a place I haven't been to just yet. And from what I understand, it's only the south of Brazil. But that's why I want to ask you, like, as far as where they were drinking the yerba mate and what kind of what town and
And
all
I
that.
should shout out
So
Eric. He was like our co-captain along with me. He moved to Florida recently, but he's still part of the squad and definitely part of the origin of the Gourd.
yeah, thanks Eric for getting the team on. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, with that being said, how did the team? So you mentioned like kind of before you were playing some pickup before you kind of I guess really formed a team, and especially around Yerba Mate, I'm sure. How did the team kind of get started, and
For
what's
sure.
what's
So
that
we were
like?
in the Casa Soccer League. Um, I was on a team that was not related to Mate, I guess, but the captain and a few other players had kind of like moved on. I kind of wanted to keep the team going, and we were sponsored by like a bar in Philadelphia, but we weren't super organized at that time. But I wanted to keep going because the Casa League was really fun. It was like the only kind of competitive, like 11v11, proper football that you could play. Um, so yeah, I was just
Mm,
really into that. And piece by piece, we had some friends from the original team that stuck around. Kind of did some recruit by playing pickup or going to these other like 7v7 leagues in the city, and then we just kind of kept it together. And then I guess I was the captain there, and Eric and a couple of the other guys would kind of just help organize with me and things like that. And we just kept it going.
nice. So Casa League that's the like the name of the league, or what's that? Does that
I don't
stand
know
for
if it stands
something?
for anything actually. It's just Casa Soccer. Um, so I guess I'll tell you a little bit about as far as I know, but it's like volunteer run. Um, totally amateur, of course, but there's like 7 divisions now of like 11v11. And then they have winter leagues and tournaments and so on. We're in the third division, Brothers of the Gourd, and we've been stuck in that division for about 7 years. We don't go up, we don't go down, but we're surviving. Um, it's an amazing league. Like there's women's leagues, there's non-binary, very inclusive, very fun, all levels kind of football.
So those are different leagues is based off of
Yeah, there's
relegation and
promotion,
stuff.
relegation. Like the Primera division is pretty competitive and like similar to like a college level, I think. And then it goes down from there. Yeah.
Uh, gotcha. Well, hey, sure, holding your own though, and the third, because like you said, I'm sure the first is people that don't have jobs or something, that actually really dedicate a lot to amateur, football. So, well, congrats guys on starting a team, and so that's um, Brothers of the Gourd. Who came up with the name?
I don't know. I think it was kind of just like a brainstorm where we kind of just blurted it out. I don't know if it was myself or Eric, and we were just like we're the Brothers of the Gourd. Just sounded funny. And then we had a graphic designer that was on the team, Dave Runkle. Just give him credit here, but I talked to him and I was like, "Hey, can we design a
Yeah,
logo for the team?" And we worked with Hev. And I don't know. Oh, it's not on this jersey, but we have it on our Brothers of the Gourd like proper kits. And then we just got the idea. Like, okay, we have a gourd, got a soccer ball. We just got creative with it. It was just a fun idea. It's a little odd, I'll admit, like the cultural appropriation aspect of it. Just I'm cognizant of that,
mm,
like that I'm not from Argentina or Brazil.
hmm
We do have some players on
hmm
the team that are from those countries over the years, but it was really just something we
hmm
enjoyed. Like just kind of as we found it, we just realized like this would be an interesting thing and positive. It's healthy, and it's also kind of like something to unite the team. So that's kind of
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I definitely want to highlight what you said as far as like I have my own doubts and whatever things about, well, who am I as an American to talk about your Mate? Yeah, sure, your wife's Argentine or whatever, but you're not, And it's like, it's not about the national identity of beverage or whatever, or who started it, or who's the most popular country that drinks it. Like that's just like that's nonsense. Like don't let that it's for everyone, it's for everywhere. Like I think that's the whole point I'm trying to share, and I appreciate you guys for sticking that too. Is like it's a thing to share. It's a it's not like it belongs to any one person. It's for it's for everyone, and it's to unite the uh, people or team community. So it's great on you guys, and for holding that down. So yeah, that was my other question too about the shirt design. So you had a graphic designer on the team. So you little in source in team design. So that's
sure.
cool. Did he did now you mentioned like you got other different people on the team and stuff, and some probably don't even actually drink yerba mate though,
Yeah,
even though
for
they're
sure.
on the team,
It's
right?
like a mandatory part of
Yeah,
being on the team. Uh, some guys enjoy it, definitely.
sure.
I'll bring it to the match most of the
Hmm.
time. Um, and I'll share it. I'll offer it to everybody. Some of the guys are like, "Hey, Dan, did you make the Monte yet?" Or they're like, "No, thank you." It just depends on
Hmm.
how they react to it, or maybe they had enough
Hmm.
caffeine that day.
Yeah,
Uh, but it's a range.
yeah.
But I will say, Jason from Yerba Crew coming last week did a lot to,
Hmm.
like, I guess, break the ice for a lot of the guys because he came through. He showed us all the different
Hmm.
types of gourds and a lot of different flavors and brands of mate, and kind of gave everybody an idea of like
Mm.
what it's all about and I guess how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. So the guys are really excited. They took some gourds home and bought some from his shop. And I think we have a group chat going, and we have a few photos of guys like making their own mate, during the day for work and stuff like that. So it's catching on.
Nice, yeah, little by little. I think that's I think you said it well, breaking the ice kind of thing. It's like uh understanding kind of what is it, especially because when you see a cup, and got something weird in it, and you don't, and then they pass it to you like, I'm not sure I want to drink that, and what is that, and I think it's just just explaining it because it's like if you say, hey, look, it's just loose leaf tea,
Mhm.
then or I mean, it's more than that, but at the same time, like if you just try to, it's nothing weird or crazy. It's just a beverage. I mean, just like anything else. But I think in explaining the health benefits and stuff that helps people. Oh, okay. Well, I'll give it a shot or whatever. Versus, yeah, I don't know what you guys are doing over there. Um, and even to this day, even though I have people that have seen me drink it and stuff, still questions, and that's okay. And that's kind of the education though, explaining all that stuff. So that's why this exists, and obviously why we're passionate about it is being able to help other people understand. Because as yourself included, once you understood kind of what it was and how to prepare it and all this stuff, that's can that's probably where you're at today. Right? You just knew in a can and everything. So,
Yeah,
but
everybody
yeah,
starts somewhere.
um,
I didn't know about it. Now I know a little more about. Hey, let's share it with some friends. It just goes from there.
yeah, I got a little question about that. So, my position, is different probably than yours, but how do you kind of explain it to people when, especially like guys on your team that aren't aware, or maybe just people you come in contact with that you're drinking yerba mate, or just as it comes up, and how do you normally kind of help educate, I guess, or teach people
I'll
about it?
say I find it amusing sometimes when people give me a confused look or like, "What is this thing in a cup?" Or like, um, sometimes they think it's like a drug. Maybe they see me pouring out a bunch of herb. It's
Yeah, it's a common, yeah, we all deal with it. Yeah.
it's funny to start off with, but if they're guys that play soccer, some just call it Messi juice. You've probably seen a picture of Messi
Hmm.
walking
Yeah.
around with his.
Yeah.
But then basically, I just tell them it's like basically an herbal tea that comes from South America that Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay like enjoy, and they drink it maybe more than coffee uh, down there. And it's just a very healthy thing. I try to explain to them like a little bit of the health side of a pharmacist or like originally like for work. And so I kind of read into the chemical, ingredients, I guess, that go into it. So I can speak to that part
Hmm.
of it
Interesting.
sometimes. Just explaining to them it's like a different form of caffeine. So that, just doesn't produce the same kind of jittery, anxious buzz like coffee does.
Mhm.
And then I just tell them it's good for the game. Like we're gonna be hyped. We're gonna run faster. So, so just
Yeah.
have a sip.
So you
Not
won't be
play.
like Messi, right? Right? Like drink the juice, man. It's like a Space Jam. You give them the little special beverage. I don't know if you.
That sounds.
I'm showing my age by the old
I'm
old
probably
Space
older than
Jam.
you.
We had Michael Jordan had a water bottle that he gave the team or whatever, and thought it'd make him like Michael Jordan, but it was just regular water. But anyways, made him believe that they could. So yeah. Well, speaking of pharmacy, though, I would love to hear kind of how you explain maybe some of those, I don't know, chemicals or whatever you want to call it, because honestly, like myself and probably a lot of people that do drink it a lot, veterans or whatever you want to call them, we understand what it is and the benefits. We like it, and that's not going to change our minds. But to deeper understand some of those health benefits, especially chemicals and stuff, because I only recently learned what theobromine and theophylline was, and that kind of explaining that to other people, and it's like now it makes sense, and like helping other people realize like, oh, this, like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like you said, the jittery crashing and all that stuff. Any insight there in the pharmaceutical world
Sure, I
for us?
suppose. So to be honest, like anything I kind of understand about it, I've probably gotten from like reading articles that like anybody could read. But my
Sure.
understanding is that like one, it's not acidic like coffee, so it doesn't typically like upset people's stomachs as much and maybe kind of digest a little slower. So coffee is like super acidic. It can cause like heartburn and whatnot, which I don't experience as much with mate. And then I saw things that call it like a liquid vegetable, where apparently people could drink mate all day and not really get hungry because there's a lot of minerals and vitamins that are actually in the herb that kind of satisfy your body so that you're not looking for, bread or food, basically. So it can be official in that way, just as like a supplement. Uh, and then the type of caffeine that's in the mate is a little bit more of a, I compare it to like how white sugar is refined, like down to a powder, and regular natural sugar would be like in fruit, where it's like a little slower to break down, and it's like packaged with other, I guess, chemicals in your body or in the fruit. So coffee has caffeine in that like refined, very like potent way, and mate has it in its natural form, as like as the plant makes it. So that's kind of how I explain it to people. I hope that's completely accurate, but we'll go from there.
Well, I will say there are studies into about maybe this, I don't know if there's a better word, but suppressing appetite. But um, you know, there's that, and then as far as the way that the caffeine is delivered, I don't understand the whole science, but that's kind of along the lines of the theobromine or whatever. It was like that it's a sustained energy versus a punch crash, thing. And an interesting point you made, about the acidic D or the acid, reflux. So I've heard some people that do get acid reflux from yerba mate. Just saying it's not completely
Yeah,
100% or whatever that,
everybody's different.
but I also do think that it also has that personally. I think it has something to do with also the quality of the yerba versus organic versus not. But I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on the internet. Neither does my friend Dan here. So don't take our words as doctors or anything. This is just, like you said, articles anyone can find on the internet that I think more than anything, it's like try it for yourself, see how you experience it, how you feel, you know, and don't take our word for it. I
Yeah,
guess
not
try it for
medical
yourself, right?
advice.
Um, yeah. Anything else that you want to add or want the listeners to know about, whether in regards to you or the Brothers of the
I mean,
Gourd, or
that's pretty open ended here, but I guess I really just I hope people take a little bit of an interest in the mate, and if they're curious about it, they can like pick some up or like ask anybody questions on Instagram or wherever it might be, and feel free to like reach out. But basically, I think I like the idea of mate just becoming a little more popular, partially because it's healthier, in my opinion, and probably could be demonstrated that. But it's also just like a fun, interesting that I guess we're picking from like another culture. Um, so just I'm glad to meet and connect with other people like the Yerba crew in Philly and yourself that are just kind of on the same wavelength, just wanting to share it. Um, Brothers of the Gourd, we're doing well the last couple weeks. We're fighting relegation though, to be honest, and so we really need to win this week. But
Mm.
follow us on Instagram, and I'm not sure what else you'd want to know.
Yeah, follow along the Brothers of the Gourd on Instagram, cheer them on, show your support. Yeah, you got a local connect now for your supplier, Yerba Crew. Shout out to them too, because they've been very passionate about sharing Yerba Mate and definitely align vision. They actually sponsor podcast episodes as well, so they're great people. Jason is, and yeah, I really appreciate your time, Dan, for coming on and talking about this, because I know you got other things going on in your life as well. And but I do have a question though. Since you got these, wicked awesome, jerseys, is there a way to actually buy one of those jerseys to support you guys?
It's
Is
possible.
that possible?
Definitely. Like right now, we don't have them for sale or anything like that, but we do have the Brothers of the Gourd, like the yellow jerseys. I think you're referring. I was talking to Yerba Crew, Jason, about possibly like putting a few of them up on his shop. And we have some spare ones. We go through Icarus, who designs the jerseys and kind of prints them and ships them. So we could always put in a reorder and get them up on somebody's store if anybody's like looking to support a mate-based football team from Philadelphia.
No, yeah. If I can figure out, this is one of my, just declaring it on the internet right now, that I've been looking into getting a somewhat of a store for podcast swag and stuff like that. So I would be honored to put some of you guys' jerseys up for sale on store if I can get that up and running. So yeah, I'll be glad to back you guys on that. And anyone else that's listening, if I know there's a couple other Yerba companies out there in the U.S. that if you guys want to support the team, we'll make that happen.
We could come up with our own.
And then maybe we got to get you guys, got to get in some extra orders. So
absolutely.
Well, thanks once again, Dan, for being on the show. And hope to, well, number one, much success and for the Brothers of Gourd. Fight on and go win some games and score some goals for us.
For the Gourd.
And hopefully, we can have one of the other guys on maybe sometime. Would love to have anyone else on the team if they want to. Would love to do that. So, but thanks for your time and reaching out and being here.
Likewise.
And until next time.
Good chat.
All right. Bye.